cannot believe that the blush market is still so hot and heavy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love blushes, but this has been going on for almost 2 years, this blush craze. And to be honest, as fun as it is to buy these blushes, as pretty as blushes are, I got 2 cheeks. So it just doesn't make sense to have a ton of blushes for the average person. So that's why I created today's video. If you are overwhelmed by all of the blush launches, I have narrowed down 11 of some of the newest formulas available on the market. I'm going to share with you how they apply, some of the colors that I have, and just give you the details, facts, my opinions, wear time updates, all of that to help you narrow down if there are any that might be the best for you. So it's the ultimate guide of all new blushes that I've tried, and it's in no particular order other than I have more affordable blushes towards the end of the video, but I do mostly focus on high end, so that's what we're going to start off today. I have powder blushes and cream blushes, so we're first going to get started with YSL Beauty's newest blushes, which honestly are a hot commodity right now. Everybody, I feel like, is loving these. So these are definitely a hot formula of the moment. These are called the Make Me Blush 24-Hour Buildable Powder Blush, sitting at a heavy $45. Now, part of that price point, other than the name, of course, it is a luxury house, is this clutch style packaging, which I have to admit, I think it's worth paying a little bit of extra bucks if you are in to packaging, of course. So it had to be a good formula in order for me to justify these. So the pinky peachy color I have is 93, and then I picked up a more pinky gold color, which is 44, I believe the bottom swatches for you guys. Now this is a silky powder formulation, and despite these blushes being $45, I'm sorry, I have some staining on my hand. This is one of my favorite formulas in today's video. So I just said the quality is going to need to speak for the price point, and depending on how you're looking at it, fortunately or unfortunately, these absolutely, I don't want to say are worth the price point. You don't need them. You can get great affordable blushes if you don't already have any, but I don't regret purchasing these two. So I'm gonna only demo this on one side of my face because we do have a lot of blushes to demo today. I think we'll start off with 44 towards the back of my cheek. Now, why I like these blushes, they do get a little bit of kickback here, but they are a buildable formulation and they build up super easily if you need to, but these just glide across the skin like silk, making these a beautiful blush formulation, not only just on the bare cheek like I have today, but they're also gorgeous for setting over top of cream blush if you want as well, because this powder formula doesn't grab onto the makeup you have underneath. Some blushes can do that and you can blend it out afterwards, but it makes for a little bit of extra work. This blush just glides with ease. So this one is a light layer of 44, and then I'm gonna put 93, which has a little bit of a golden undertone to it, more towards the front of my cheek, so you can see the differences in color here. And there are 7 different blush colors for you to choose from in this formulation. This is a beautiful buttery luxe formulation. You have a lot of wiggle room here with how much pigment you want, and $45 is so much to pay for one singular blush. I definitely don't want to act like this is a must-have, but there's not one bad thing I can say about these blushes. Everything from the experience of the packaging to the quality has lived up to that $45 price point. As somebody who tests makeup in all price points, I think that this is an acceptable formula for the price point. It's definitely a splurge, but if you're thinking about it, I would say do it. Now let's talk Too Faced. They just launched 2 new colors in their already existing line of the Cloud Crush Blurring Powder Blushes. Now these are $31, so literally 2/3 of the price of the YSL, and these are quite cute as well. I mean, similar vibe, am I right? So if you like the vibe but don't like the price point of the YSL, these 2 new shades are an option. Of course, they have all of the other shades as well. Now, these are an airy diffused blurring blush infused with flower extract blend. There are different finishes here, and I'll be honest, these are a very viral, very hyped up formulation, which is why they went ahead and launched new shades. I personally never got the hype about these. For me, I just felt like I could get equal quality at the drugstore at a more affordable price point because the drugstore is so amazing at blush products. But a lot of people love it. So, just so you know. Now, the top swatch I have is Berry Dream, and then the bottom one is Super Candy Clouds. Now, Super Candy Clouds is a play on their best-selling shade that sold out for a while, Candy Clouds. And I said Candy Clouds is not going to work for everybody. Super Candy Clouds is the answer to that problem that I actually had mentioned, and this will be a lot more flattering, so I definitely want to show you this one. But you can see in the swatches, Candy Clouds at the bottom is a lot lighter, more white almost, whereas the Super Candy Cloud has some depth, so it's definitely going to work for more medium complexions this time around. So I'm going to go in with Berry Dreamy, the new deeper shade. How gorgeous is this? Now, this doesn't look like it's probably going to be for my skin tone, but colors like these walk a fine line of making you look like you got punched in the face. So let's see. Now, this blush formulation is kind of a formula that I feel like grabs onto product underneath. So a little bit of extra work is required to get it to look blended out. I'm trying to use as light of a hand as possible. It just kind of sticks. I feel like I can see the brush mark of how I applied it. Lots of people love this, like I said, but on myself, I just feel like I have a lot of other blush formulas that kind of glaze and dance over the skin when I apply it. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not a bad application at all. It's just not as easy as others, considering I've tried hundreds of blush formulations. To me, these don't stand out. The actual packaging, the color, the aesthetic absolutely stands out in this line, and I think that's a huge reason as to why they've done so well. They've also launched these in very popular, best-selling shades in the market, so they knew what they were doing. But when it comes to like talking the talk and formulation here, I don't think that these stand up, and I can see why these would sell out for sure. But just as somebody who looks very specifically into formula, I'm not as impressed by it. So this is Super Candy Clouds. So much more flattering. Even I find myself that really light blush color, I find it not to be very flattering. This is much more. It still gives that very cotton candy pink. I'm gonna take, this is not the new shade, this is just the original Candy Clouds. I feel like this pairs really well over top of the new shade. So yeah, almost to like blur it out. That's a pretty combo. So if you feel like Candy Clouds is too light and you love this formulation, you can round it out a little bit with Super Candy Clouds. So I'm really happy that they actually launched this new shade. I think it was definitely necessary, and it's going to broaden the range of skin tones that can rock this baby pink kind of shade. Taking a closer look here, it is slightly blurring. It is a powder blush after all. That's just kind of the nature of the product. Overwhelmingly so, though. I just enjoyed the YSL better. Like, this isn't a comparisons video, but naturally that's gonna happen given the nature of this video. For me, I'd pay the extra money for the YSL. It's just an easier application. But like I said, a lot of people do love the Too Faced. So next up, I have a new shade of the Basma blush, but this time it's in collaboration, I apologize if I mispronounce this, with Rokel. This is Beyonce's makeup artist. I believe he has his own beauty line as well, but he collaborated with Basma for the shade name Pink Yet Coral, and I know on Sephora's website this did sell out, but it is available on the Basma Beauty website, and this is supposed to be Pink Yet Coral. Now, I haven't tried this one on my face yet. I'm familiar with other colors in this formula, but not this color in particular. This is a decent price for a cream blush. It's $28 for it being in the Sephora price point range. And these are supposed to be a buttery, soft, buildable cream blush and lip tint if you want it to be. I don't really like this on the lips, if I'm being honest here. And it's supposed to give a naturally radiant finish here. So how fun, let's try it out. Now this formula, oh, look at that. You see how airbrushed that looks? I was gonna say this formula is very easy to use, very blendable, and even though it's a cream formulation, it doesn't look or feel wet on the face, but it has a very natural finish to it. Do you see how that just blended into the skin? Do you think that looks pink yet coral right here? I can definitely see that. How beautiful is that? This is the BK Beauty 116 brush. It is great for applying cream blushes here. And again, you can get a lot of pigment with this. This is a beautiful shade. Oh my goodness. You have the unique packaging that Basma has, and you're supporting another makeup artist if you pick up this shade. But they do have, it looks like, 6 other shades on the Sephora website. I've enjoyed my time with these a lot from what I've tried in the past. So this is a solid formula, and this is a sellout shade apparently, and I think this is going to be really fun for the spring and the summertime. Now let's talk about Natasha Denona's newest launch. She launched a range of 6, what she calls the High Blush Cloudy Cream Cheek Duo. So this is an interesting formulation. I have a whole dedicated video, so I'm going to kind of sweep by this really quickly. Now these are not just blushes, it is a duo. So one side's going to be a cream highlight, another side is going to be a cream blush. Quickly, I'm going to show you the shades if you are looking for swatches here. Top to bottom, I have Sweet Cheeks, Fresh Mauve, Simply Shy, Flirty Flush, Flustered, and then Vamp. So feel free to use this as a guide if you've decided that this is the formulation for you. But watch this video before you bite the bullet. Oh, watch my review. But let's talk about it. So these are like kind of that cloudy, putty-ish formulation, particularly the highlights. Now I notice all of the highlights in here are pretty subtle. Though this is not a highlight video, I'm just gonna pack it in right here since we're already here and it's in the product. I don't find these highlights to be very special. I think they kind of soak into the skin. You also need to be very careful that you're buying the correct shade for yourself, because some of these are more so blush toppers rather than highlights. Obviously, they shouldn't all be made for my skin tone. They're pretty for sure, but not impressive. And then the blushes I do like better. So this is Sweet Cheeks that I'm demoing for you, by the way. This is kind of like the Basma in that it has a really airbrush application and it's buildable. So while it's still kind of that putty cream hybrid formulation, I find the blushes in these duos to be a little bit more on the creamy side and the highlighters to be a little bit more on the drier side. I very much have enjoyed particularly the blush formulation in these. I think they're beautiful, buildable, soft, pore blurring on the skin. They last a long time. They don't need set with powder to last a long time. And they're not too greasy or oily or shiny, but I do have dry skin. But my thing with these, other than not loving the highlighters, of course, I don't love the range of shades that's available. And she could very well expand the range in the future, but as of now, all of these are very bright, very pink, a lot of warm shades, which is going to be great spring into summer. But I do actually like some cooler blushes, some more brown-based, neutral, plum kind of blushes that aren't in the pink family. And because of that, and because of all of these are within that same family, I find a lot of them do look very similar. So the range itself of colors that she came up with, not a big fan, but I think the formula is nice. These are $42, but you do get 2 different products in here. And even though I don't love the highlight, it still is pretty. So I like this launch. I don't love this launch, and if it's something of interest to you, I wouldn't recommend buying more than 1, maybe 2 colors. These next blushes are so very interesting. They are from an indie brand. They're fairly new. I think they launched like right in December, kind of that time period. But I wanted to share these just because they are so pleasing to the eye. So the brand is What's Up Beauty, and they came out with 4 blushes as well as 4 bronzers. I'm just going to be speaking about the blushes today. And these are $35. You know, they're not on the cheap side, but they are made in Italy. They have a 24-month shelf life, so they do last a nice long time. And why these are so beautiful is because each of the 4 shades have this marbling on the inside. This is shade number 10, Peaceful Pisa? I didn't look up the name of everything very clearly before turning on the camera. But what I noticed about these, I'm still kind of new to testing these out. So take my review of these today with a grain of salt. And I'll disclose which ones I've used, which ones I haven't. This one I've used like once or twice before. I've noticed these are pretty sheer. So in the order of swatches, and you'll see even for it being the darkest shade, still pretty light, we have 10 Peaceful Pisa, 2 Serene Sienna, 3 Relaxed Roma, and then 40 Gentle Genova. I actually want to go ahead and try the deepest shade on myself to see how that pigmentation applies on the cheek, because I have not tried this one on my cheek, and you can see this one also has the absolute most stunning marbling ever. So I'm just going to use my Makeup by Mario brush. This has a little bit of density to it. Yeah, you can see on my skin tone, it's pretty light and sheer. So if you have a even medium, definitely deep complexion, this is a formula that I don't know would be the best. Like, you could build this up. It is a little bit buildable, but it does look really soft and airbrushed on the skin. I overall, with What's Up Beauty as a whole, have been impressed with everything that the brand has, well, not everything, but most of the formulas that this brand has launched. I found the formulas to be really exceptional, even everything from their brushes, not blushes, brushes, but that does have a really gorgeous airbrushed application, and I'm gonna put the lightest shade on the apple of my cheek so that you guys can see that. I just love like this lilac blue marbling here. And this one is very, very sheer for really natural days. I think this one is really fabulous for very fair skin tones. If you're fine, the blushes, which is very true, the blushes that are launching, I feel like have a lot of vibrancy to them, so it might look a little cray on very fair skin. This is a good formula. It is more on the subtle side. So very airbrushed, soft matte finish on the face, but not a lot of pigment buildup here, but really pretty and soft. As somebody who I feel like has been very heavy-handed with blush this year, mostly for demos, I want you to see them. This is like kind of a nice breath of fresh air where I don't go out looking like a clown for these demos here, but very pretty formula. I think it's worth looking into the shades, like 1 or 2 if you're interested. A good job from this indie brand. And they do have good longevity as well. Okay, so this one we have a shade extension. So this is a formula I'm familiar with, but we have 3 new shades for the spring summer from Nudestix. So they launched 3 new Stax Blush Balm shades, and I think that this is a great expansion for deeper complexions, because I did see a comment saying that Nudestix doesn't go deep enough. I've watched a video of somebody with deep dark skin applying these 3 blushes, and it looked beautiful on her. And these are a very good price for Sephora as well, for $24. Now these blush balm formulations, they're kind of a copycat of Melt because they stack like this. So you build the stacks of colors, a mirror's on one side, and I have a whole buildup of different blush and bronzer and highlight shades. But I really like this formula, so I was excited to see an extension. So from top to bottom here, we have Boysenberry, which is my favorite shade. It's super unique. Then we have Cherry Pie, and then that bottom one is Fruit Punch. So you can see that they are very bright, very bold colors. I absolutely need to demo Boysenberry for you because it's insane. Now these are like a wetter formulation. They have a hard density to them. So your brush, I just put way too much on. I told you this is not, not really for light skin tones. There we go. I just wiped off my brush so we didn't add any color. Anyways, when you touch them with the brush, they're hard, but they're actually a very kind of wet formulation. They don't dry down, so just keep that in mind. But they're almost sticky, not in a way that your hair's gonna stick to them, but in a way that they last a long time. But if you do put a powder blush on top of these, that blush will stick to it and it won't look good. You'll see that brush mark for sure. But for quick, easy makeup, I do like this formulation. It's not my all-time favorite cream blush formula, but if you have really dry skin, this formula is really great because it stays hydrating all day. I have to know what kind of makeup look I'm wearing when I reach for these blushes because I don't find them to be the most versatile because they don't dry down and they're a little sticky, but I think they're really pretty. And these shades I won't get too much use out of myself because they just don't look good on my skin tone, but I will be using this Boysenberry because I think it is stunning. The other two shades are a bit more neon on me. Speaking of like hot neon, we have this quite literal in the name SPX or Smashbox rated hot sticks cream blush sticks. And it's funny, in a video I was going to use these and then I opened up the caps and I was like, oh, so these are neon. So these guys are $24. They're not available at Sephora, but you can check them out at Ulta. There's 4 shades in the range here. Now these are limited edition and they're meant to be super vivid with a dewy skin-like finish. I haven't tried these on the skin. So just so you know, these are completely new to me. I can't speak on their longevity, but I will in a speed reviews, don't you worry. But when I was showing you the colors in the swatches from top to bottom, we have Hi-Fi Heat, Pink PNG, Poppy Pick, and then Ultraviolet. And I have got to try this Ultraviolet shade first. I'm so curious about this. So let's just... Now this one's the least vivid. And since I am into that Boysenberry shade from Nudestix, I feel like this one's going to be really nice. Decent blend out for sure. This one's definitely more on the wearable side. I did wipe my brush off, just FYI. So this doesn't feel like it's a formula that's going to dry down. It is pretty buildable. And like I said, it blends pretty easily. There is some grab here, so this does have a little bit of, not stickiness, but some grab. Like I said, it is a gel formulation after all. And that Boysenberry is pretty, but I would need to be careful what look I do with it. So then let's do Pink PNG for fun. Okay, that's why we're here. I don't know how this would work on a deep, dark skin tone because I feel like these look more intimidating in the stick than they're blending out to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, like this is bright for sure and pigmented for sure. These are definitely summer colors. Colors you want to wear more in these colorful seasons here on vacation and whatnot. I don't know if I'm going to get a ton of use out of these. Taking a close look, they don't look like they've messed with my foundation too much, but I do see that soft, dewy skin-like finish here, and it did well with that direct application on the cheek. So I don't think formula, like quality, is going to be an issue here. For me, the color is going to speak to a very, very specific audience here. Now let's move on over to one of the best-selling blushes of all time right now from Patrick Ta, who just expanded his range with 4 more shades of his Major Headlines Double Take Cream and Powder Blush Duos. These are $38, which I think is a very fair price for getting a cream blush and a powder blush. Now, of the 4 shades, I only picked up 2. She's Seductive, which I just tried on in a previous video. It is a stunning rosy shade. And then I've already applied She Left Me on red as well, but let's try it on again. Now, Patrick himself suggests powder first, cream over top. I don't like that personally for these products. I still am a cream blush girl. Now, it's interesting since the launch of these products, in the beginning, the cream blush had more pigment than the powder, and now it's the opposite. So the formula of these have changed. So I'm using a really light hand with this cream because obviously this shade is crazy. but red is quite a trendy blush color. And how fun is this for Valentine's Day? It's supposed to emulate a really natural flush, according to makeup artists. Now, this blush is so pigmented, like, I want like 3 dust particles on here of this blush. It's kind of grabbing onto the cream blush. This is just an intensity that my skin tone cannot handle. But this is fun. Regardless, I stand by these formulations. I think that they are gorgeous. I love the colors and the range. This is a fabulous, fabulous product. And definitely look into the other 2 new shades beyond the ones that I got. I just got the ones that I thought I would have fun with. Just confirming, I still love these. They're fantastic. And even this She Left Me on Red, which I have to be very careful with, is stunning. Stunning formulation, worth every penny. I mean, I know these aren't identical products, but they're both duos. I would push you to the Patrick Ta more than I would this. Okay, so we just covered those Patrick Ta blush duos, but I actually have a $7 alternative. Now, I have not tried these on my face yet. I just received a comment that these could be a dupe, so I had to pull these out because they did launch a few months ago, but that comment inspired me to pull out the Catrice Blush Affair Cream and Powder Palette, which it has that same concept of cream blush, powder blush. Now on swatch, the cream blush definitely feels harder, but I thought that the powder blush felt really smooth and buttery. So for swatches, so that you can see from top to bottom, Absolute Apricot, Peach Passion, Pleasing Pink, and then Stunning Strawberry. I think, I could be wrong, but I think this Peach Passion might have been a dupe of She's Seductive from Patrick Ta. Right? Similar at the very least. And especially with blushes, since they're more sheared out on the cheek, it's harder to tell the difference. So even if they don't look exactly the same, a lot of times once blended out in that sheer layer, it's easy to tell. So let's see, because these are new for me. And they're only $7, which is crazy. So yeah, these are definitely harder. And this brush is pretty dense, but they do have those deeper shades. You know, not as smooth of an application as the Patrick Ta, but for $7, no, was not expecting that. Okay, pretty. And then for powder blush, which we do have some kickback. Again, this is my first time using these, so we'll have to keep you updated in a speed reviews. But if you like the aspect of having a cream and powder all in one, this is a really great option that I hope I could have introduced you to. I think I like the feeling, particularly of the cream blush in the Patrick Ta better. But it's the same concept, and then blushes, at the end of the day, they're not hard to get right, okay? Even though there's like small nuances to blushes and small differences that I prefer and don't prefer, at the end of the day, it's pretty easy to get a nice blush formula. It's very easy to get the job done. This definitely gets the job done. So I'll have to continue using these to see how I feel about these over time here. But I love the concept of this. I'm happy they kind of came for Patrick Ta with this. $7. Yes, the jelly makeup is haunting you. If you wanted the novelty of the milk but didn't want to spend the money, Makeup Revolution is doing what they do, and they copied. These are $8. There's 3 different shades. This is more of like a cheek stain situation. They're harder to apply. So I don't know which order I swatched these. I think strawberry's on top, peach on bottom. Let's put on strawberry. This is the more red shade. So applying it directly to cheek, normally it's difficult because it's a stain, but if you kind of keep it collected in an area and then work out the edges, you can get the easiest application, but it's a stain. Like, this is not, you're not buying this for function, let me tell you. You're buying it for novelty. But I think the best way to apply this is going like this, but it's like the Benetint in formulation, in that it is a cheek stain here. And it's not bad, it's not as scary as it looks here. And it lasts a decent time. The Milk makeup lasts longer. I will say that I like the quality of the Milk makeup. But this could be a fun product in the summertime. They didn't do a bad job. So like I said, you liked the concept of the Milk makeup jellies, didn't want to spend the money. Makeup Revolution has got you covered. I do think the Milk is better quality, but I'm not using those for their strange quality. I'm going to use a regular blush over these stains over here, but this actually is making my cheek feel pretty hydrated. $8. Very fun. Don't you just want to eat her right up? Do you want to see Peach? I'll put on Peach on the apple here. Oh, Peach is really dark looking, isn't it? But see, it's not as scary on application here. It's just more peach colored. More peach tone. Fun for the summer. Last but not least, this is probably the oldest blush in today's video, but I hadn't used these yet, you guys, and because the video hadn't come up where I needed to use them, so I'm talking about the Charlotte Tilbury dupes here from Milani. These are the Cheek Kiss Liquid Blush and Glows. They're $13, which is normal for the drugstore, but like expensive nonetheless for the drugstore. And these are a combo of blush and highlighter, and they're a play on the Charlotte Tilbury. Now with swatches, I have to say they were pretty sheer, so I'm curious as to my thoughts on these. So from top to bottom swatches, we have Luminoso, ooh, I need to use that, Pink Cava, Dolce Pink, all of these are very popular shades from Milani, Rosalia, and Canela. So let's do Dolce Pink back here. Oh my gosh, I can use both cheeks. Just kidding. I want to do Dolce Pink here. It just seems like it's very sheer, right? Sorry that I don't have like an actual review on these for you, but I wanted to mention them because they're fairly new. Oh no, I don't like these. I think that messed up my foundation. Ha. Oh, so far up to this point, not that these were all my first time trying these, but all of these blushes have been good, and this video is supposed to be a guide to help you pick the best ones, but all of them were good because like I said, it's hard to come out with a bad blush. And the glow kind of soaks away. Let's do Luminoso, which is their most popular shade. I squeezed way too hard. What do I do? Like this was user error, but oh shit. It's user error here, but I'm not liking this. No ma'am. No, to me these are giving drugstore copycat, and it just didn't hit as good as the first one. Yeah, this is moving my foundation underneath. This is the only product today that has happened with. So I'll give these another chance on a different day. Maybe these disagree with the foundation that I'm using, which is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. But very bad first impressions. $13. I even like the Makeup Revolution jelly better and the Catrice. So that one, she's out. Emco Beauty has a great affordable dupe of Charlotte Tilbury, if that's what you're looking for. I'll give those another try though. That was my first impression. So overall, let's quickly run through these 11. I'm just gonna tell ya. Beautiful, smooth, silky powdered blush. I definitely recommend this if you're willing to pay the price. Overhyped formula, adorable packaging. I love the new Super Candy Cloud blush color. Great correction to the line, but I don't get the hype behind this formula. Good solid cream blush formulation, gorgeous color, middle of the road here. These are nice. I don't love the highlighter, and you don't need more than one shade because they all kind of look the same. I don't love the shade range. What's Up Beauty, stunning but sheer. Nudestix stack colors, very unique, very vivid. Not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I do like this formula. Smashbox, vivid, Not as vivid as they look, but still very vivid. Nice formula. This is competing with YSL as my favorite formula that I'm talking about today, including She Left Me on Red. So these are worth it. Pretty new to the Catrice, but I like these a lot for $7. Like, these are solid. I do worry that the cream blush might dry out over time. I feel like the packaging might need to keep it better sealed because these do feel on the harder side. But again, for $7, really great option. You get what you get, you don't get upset, you know what you're getting when you buy this, and it's not bad. But I wouldn't suggest anybody waste their breath on this. I would say at this point, that sums up all of the new blushes that I have to share with you. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you are at all feeling overwhelmed by the blush market, just know you are not alone. That is why I'm here. And that's all I have for today's video. If you've tried any of these formulas, please share your experiences down below. I would love to hear it. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.
It's delicious.